Over the past few months, the Mini has been my go-to for everything. Its size and form factor is perfect for my needs. But when they threw an M1 chip in the air, I had to snag one. Something this light and powerful deserves a closer look, and I've used it daily for over 2 weeks now. Now this review is important because over the past few weeks, I have never seen this many people confused in my life. Should you pick up this? Should you pick up an iPad Pro or an iPad Mini? Family members are coming to me, friends, people in the comments section. Everyone seems to not know which iPad to pick up, and Apple does make it a difficult decision at times, which is why I'm going to try to answer every question for you guys in today's review of my new iPad Air that I've used over the past few weeks, so you don't make the wrong mistake when picking up your next tablet. For me personally, I thought the 4th gen iPad Air was sufficient for pretty much every consumer, but with Samsung heating up with the recent S8 Ultra release, I feel Apple needs to get creative and improve every aspect of this tablet, which at a glance, everything looks pretty much the same. Now let's start with storage, which is rather frustrating for me. You get 64 gigs with the base model at $599. Now this has an M1 chip in it, so it's going to last forever, right? You're going to keep adding photos, you're going to keep adding files to it, which at that point you're going to run out of storage within a few years, and that's it. You can't do anything. You're going to have to trade this in or sell it. If you bump up to the 256 gigabyte model, you're at $750, which is iPad Pro territory, and you haven't even bought a pencil or a keyboard yet. If you fully spec this thing out, you're well over $900. You do have support for the Gen 2 pencil, which comes in at $130, and then the Magic Keyboard also works well, but will set you back another $300. Its design overall, though, feels really good to hold. It's very light, slim, and modern without a headphone jack. Its weight comes in at just 1 pound and goes USB Type-C for charging. Its body's complemented nicely with a Retina display that covers 2360 by 1640 for its resolution, sporting super sharp image quality. Like the Mini, I feel like its display could have given us a tad bit more for brightness, coming in at 484 nits. Almost 100 nits less than what you got with the iPad Pro. However, color accuracy doesn't make up for some of that. Now this iPad Air is the second tablet in the lineup to support that M1 chip, and it's the main distinguishing factor between this and the previous model. But if consumers go ahead and decide to upgrade, how much of a difference will they actually notice? Well, it's quite significant as you'd expect. Geekbench scores came in over 7,000 on the general multi-core test, significantly higher than what we saw with the 4,200 score in the previous model. For fun, I opened up a million tabs and had a ton of processes running, and this thing didn't break a sweat. Now speakers did pack a punch as well. It lacks a little bass, but for this size and form factor, I'll take it with no complaints. From my experience, it sounded the best around 75 or 80% volume. So here, let's take a listen. I'd say it fill up a little room fairly nicely. Small den library room if you're watching a movie. It'll fill it up pretty good, I feel like. But that's what the speakers sound like. And like I said, around 75-80% is the sweet spot to where it doesn't sound too muffled and you get some bass, but it could use a little bit more in terms of bass. Cameras are up next. You have 12 megapixel front and rear facing camera with the center stage to track you during those conference calls. Now for me, cameras on tablets always felt awkward, and it looks even more awkward when others are using them for anything other than documents. But you do get 5 megapixels more than the 2020 model, which will keep you looking crisp in those meetings. Alright guys, and here's the front-facing camera on the iPad Air. It does look super wide. I really like this natural image. It does feel a little bit weird not having the webcam at the top though, because it feels like you're always looking to the left to be centered. But overall, it looks a lot better in my opinion than the studio display. It's not trying to overcompensate for my face or my clothing. It's not overexposing me or trying to overexpose me. Hopefully they'll fix that with the studio display in their next software update. But this is a nice wide angle look along with center stage. I think it looks pretty decent. And this is with natural lighting. I don't have any lighting attached to this image, so I think it looks pretty good. And this is the built-in microphone quality on the iPad Air as well. So if you are new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe, and only if you end up liking this video, please make sure you smash that like button for me. Now for me, battery life was fairly decent, I'd say in my experience, about 10 hours. I've never had a day where this actually died on me, and I've done a ton of stuff with it. Checking out the market in the morning, placing trades, gaming, ton of emails, ton of browsers open, watching movies. I mean, pretty much anything you could think of, I've done with the iPad Air, and it never died on me in a single day if it was fully charged. Now, this is the Wi-Fi version. If you pick up that cellular model, it might drain your battery a little bit faster. I didn't go with the cellular model because I have it on my iPad mini, and I felt like I didn't need it on this tablet. But nonetheless, I feel like you should be able to get through a full work day or school day, whatever it is, with the iPad Air and not have any issues whatsoever. Now, both the pencil and keyboard are amazing accessories, but they are rather expensive, and you're almost forced to pick one up if you'd like to transform this into a laptop, something that might make you think twice, especially when the Galaxy line offers the pen with their new tablet. Now, aside from storage and expensive peripherals, you still have Touch ID with the sensor, which is my next setback. It works great, but just like the MacBook and the Studio Display, you give us a new chip and improved camera system and still resort to Touch ID. Now, it's almost as if Apple's putting themselves in this position unintentionally. You have to pick up the iPad Pro to get Face ID, and if you decide to go with the Touch ID, it works and it's decent, but sometimes you might not hold it long enough, your hands might be greasy, whatever it might be, you might have to tap it again, or then even swipe up on the screen, which feels like it takes a lot more time than Face ID does. And the biggest drawback for me, just like the Studio Display, is 60 Hz for the refresh rate. When you're gaming or scrolling on a timeline, it's hard for me to justify paying for higher storage, not having Face ID, and then staring at a screen without ProMotion when we know it's powered by an M1 chip. This tablet and price point is perfect for consuming or creating content, but storage will become an issue, especially if you're a student or someone who likes creating content. With this being a powerful tablet, there's no doubt in my mind that it will last for many years to come. But as time goes on, you're gonna need more storage, so at that point you're better off spending the extra $50 getting a 128GB 11-inch iPad Pro with Face ID, much more storage, a higher refresh rate, and a stacked camera system. That's what I would do, right? In this tough position, I'd honestly either go with an iPad mini or jump straight to that 128GB iPad Pro. Now, if money's no object, then obviously go for the Pro. Although if it is a Pro you want for sure, you might be better off holding off until later this year since that's due for a refresh as well. Now, if money is an object and storage isn't really a problem for you, then go for that base model iPad Air. But if you don't need that size or that M1 chip, the iPad mini has treated me amazing since day one. And its small form factor makes it the perfect companion for consumers. I will make sure to leave that full review link down below for you guys as well, where you'll also find links to everything that we covered in today's episode. But I'm curious to know which iPad you're currently rocking with, which one's your favorite, and which one are you guys actually eyeing. Now, if there's any questions I didn't answer in this review for you, make sure to also drop those down below for me as well. If you want to see more, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DetroitFury. And if you enjoyed this content, please make sure you smash that like button for me, subscribe, turn on your post notifications. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in my next episode. Peace.